Ultimately, we're talking about, actual injury and death. And in some cases, it will make certain games and certain tournaments actually unplayable. My name's David Goldblatt. I'm a sports writer.
Some of the most extreme heat and humidity at the Olympics ever.
It's 34 degrees out, with the humidity feels like 39.
Tokyo's extreme conditions are a preview of what's in store for future summer games.
I think that climate change has been creeping up on the Olympics, and Tokyo 2020, I think, actually marks a watershed. The average temperature in the summer in Tokyo, and above all the humidity that accompanies it, clearly makes it physiologically dangerous. The tennis, for example, has had to change its timetable. We've had a couple of athletes pretty much having to leave because of heat stroke. The beach volleyball. It's so hot down on the beach that they're spraying the sand with water. I mean, the extreme weather issue, in terms of rain, hurricanes, floods, is already impacting global sport. There's drought. Anybody who's relying on grass is going to be troubled. And then we have wildfires. Just before the pandemic began, we all thought the story of the year was going to be Australian wildfires, so bad that cricket in Sydney and the Australian Tennis Open, were engulfed in impossible air pollution. There's a lot more of that to come. And remember, we can't just be talking about elite sport. Grassroots sport everywhere will take more of a hit than professional sport. The top end of professional sport will take less of a hit than the bottom end of professional sport. And everybody in the global north will be doing better than in the global south. The basic problem with the Olympic Games, and indeed all major global sporting events, is that somewhere between 60 and 80% of the carbon emissions related to them are us. It's us going to see them. Now, I think Tokyo 2020 is going to hit and actually exceed many of its targets because nobody's there. And the IOC has called for its the Olympic Games to be first carbon zero, and then actually we're talking climate positive, supposedly by 2032. The record of previous hosts of the Olympics has been little short of appalling. I mean, Sydney claimed itself to be the greenest games ever. Its record is mixed. And then it's pretty much downhill from there. I mean, Athens again made the same claim, but when the World Wildlife Fund audited them, they found that only one of their 21 environmental targets had actually been met. Beijing was meant to be cleaner and have cleaner air after the Olympics. It was dirtier. Pyeongchang, the 2018 Winter Olympics, saw a large tract of sacred ancient forest destroyed so that a ski run could be built. And as for Sochi 2014, an environmental record that is just laughably bad. And the problem there, of course, is that the IOC, once it actually allocates the Olympics to a host, doesn't have the monitoring capacity or the political instruments to actually influence what is going on the ground. Sport actually has the opportunity to make a much, much bigger contribution, because the politics of climate change require that the notion of going carbon zero really quickly, whatever the structural impediments, needs to just become the norm. Sport can do that. Sport can speak to a range of people and a scale of people across the world that no other popular cultural phenomenon comes anywhere close to. And it's like, well, if sport's doing it, why isn't everybody doing it? The second thing is that the politics of climate change require resources of hope. I mean, part of the block for everybody is once you actually peek under the carpet, it's like, whoa, are we too late? Is this possible? And sport delivers hope. But even more important than hope, sport in the most tangible way demonstrates the possibility of collective action. And that's really important here, because the climate crisis is not about us as individuals. This is too big. This requires massive collective action. If sport were able to embrace radical change on climate, you know, to commit to 2030 seriously carbon zero at every level, you know, you can offer that to the rest of the world and say, this is possible.